Hope everybody's having a wonderful evening. But anyway, so look at these beautiful palm trees blowing in the wind. It is fabulous. So anyway, eBay scammers, boy, they're still at it. So I sold a guy $120 shirt. He pays way more than that because he's got to pay tax to eBay and shipping charge and all that stuff. And the unfortunate thing is that I shipped it out through the post office on their machine, and they don't have the cheapest rates on there. They omit that in a lot of the stuff, so you're forced to send it priority, which was so dumb because I charged him like $9 shipping, and it was beautiful long sleeve lure shirt and high end brand new, tags on it, everything, and uh, so it had a little weight on it. So a lot of times when you get over 16 ounces, they're gonna make you ship it priority. But if I were to use my shipper on the computer, then it's a lot cheaper. And the big catch is, check this: it's shipping 1 hour from the post office that I shipped it from. Okay, 1 hour drive. All right. So it comes with a tracking number, and it comes with automatic $100 insurance. And I had to ship it priority. Now, priority is usually guaranteed by the post office to deliver on time, or they're supposed to refund your money back. And then they have a few exclusions on that, but basically that's what it is. So, usually on an item that expensive, I normally put signature delivery confirmation for anything, like over like $75. I'll do a signature delivery confirmation. It's worth paying that extra money. Um, Although I got burned many years ago for, like $1,000 on eBay. Um, by somebody that got like 14 boxes of stuff. And then they claimed that I didn't ship it all, which I did. And big boxes of glass items. And that was a nightmare. But anyway, that was a PayPal eBay defunk. It was a mess. Um, and that always makes me leery because that was way back in like 2002 that I got burned for a total $1,000 plus the stock I shipped out by a scamming customer. But it's pretty well changed now uh, through the years because of the tracking numbers. So I shipped the item. I got that order that day. I ship it out that day, about 4 hours later. So I went and did it on the postal machine in the post office. The post office is 1 hour away. Hello, hello. Yes, this was this week. Well, no, not this week. This was almost a month ago, but there was a problem with it this week. So anyway, I believe it was on the 14th that they ordered, and I shipped it out on the 14th, about 4 hours later. So, post office had just closed, and so I used the machine. She reported she got a chargeback on 500 order. Oh, I had $1,000 chargeback back in like '02. It was really bad. I was so mad. And you can contest it and all that stuff, and it just takes like 3 months to get over it, and it was really bad. But I honored. Uh, they forced you to honor a return back then, and I don't honor any returns, none, which can be at a loss too. But I just don't. So because I really do ship, I ship immediately um, in a few hours and or less than 24 hours. And the new rule is you're supposed to ship out within 3 days. After 3 days, the order gets removed, and you lose the income for that because they're not going to let you have it until you put a tracking number in, and then they put marks on your account, and it only takes a few nowadays to be terminated from eBay if they're really strict. So anyway, I shipped this shirt out. I send them the customer message with a tracking number, and I send the customer a personal message. Thank you so much for your business. Just shipped it out from this post office in this city, which is only an hour away from the customer's address. Anyway, so really expensive shirt. So, and that's the worst part is losing the stock or losing the pay too. It would just be horrendous. So anyway, and you would think anybody that's going to order like $120 shirt you know, that they have money and they have class, but I guess not. So anyway, I get a message yesterday from the customer that said, I you know, would like to get my money back because I needed the shirt for a function on the 20th, and I didn't get it, so I wasn't able to wear it, so I had to buy another shirt. Thank you. And it's a guy. And so anyway, eBay sends me this message. Important, take care of this in the next 36 hours, or we'll go ahead and refund the customer. Da 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 da. So anyway, I call the postmaster because it's like 5 minutes before closing, and I got the private backroom number to call him on direct. And I said, hey, can you look this up for me? And yeah, it's really messy. I said, can you look this tracking number up for me and tell me, because it's showing that it hasn't been delivered. And I said, and I shipped this out, the night of the 14th. And he goes, look it up. He said, that's not a valid number. So what do you mean? He said, well, I can look it up for the transactions of the machine. If you can tell me, like, maybe what time and the city and, the customer's name, I can look it up on transactions. I said, really? I said, because I'm a little ways from my office, or I could be able to pull the receipt and the printout and everything for the order. And he said, no problem. He said, I'll call you right back. So I'm freaking out. About 4 minutes, he calls me right back. He said, I've got it. Here's the guy's name. I said, that's it. And I says, it's in this such and such city that's 1 hour from here. I can't even believe that it didn't make it there. And he said, no, it did. And I said, really? And he said, oh, yeah. He said, that was delivered on the 17th. And I said, really? He said, yep. And 11:45. I said, really? He said, oh, yeah. He said, and I checked the GPSing on it, and it's the person's house. I said, really? And so what they do is, when it has a tracking number and or a signature delivery confirmation, that the postal delivery person has a little machine, and they have to scan that tracking number, especially on priority mail, which this was shipped to priority mail, because that was the only selection I had. So it cost me like $10.50 or $10.75 when I only charged customer $9 to ship. Yeah, I could have drove out there and dropped it off. You know what I mean? But and it'd been cheaper. But anyway, so uh, they have to scan it, for that tracking number right off the top. And then priority offers the guarantee that it is delivered on time or you get a refund. And so it really has to be scanned. Well, when they use that little scanner, say the postmaster, parks in front of your house or in your driveway, and they carry the package, and right before they put it in your box or at your door or wherever it is they put it, they're going to scan it with that little machine. Now, that when they scan it, it has a GPS for where that mail is. I guess that's due to this. In the last year, they've had a lot of reports of FedEx and United States Post Office and all the stuff where they have dumped truckloads of packages down hills in valleys and stuff and left them there, and they never get shipped to the customers. And I don't know if you've seen or heard that, but I mean, they had pictures of hundreds of boxes that were tossed in bushes and stuff, and never made it to customers. And this is from the delivery people doing this. And can you imagine hating your job so bad? It's about as bad as the one where the, the postal worker had boxes and boxes stacked in their house of spam mail. All those sales papers, from the grocery stores and all that stuff. And she said she hated delivering it, so she would just leave it in the car or whatever, and then take it home with her instead of put it in people's mailboxes. And she got busted for that because they went to her house. The house was just slam packed full of all these papers with addresses on them and people's names on them that never got delivered, and that's a federal offense to jack with the United States mail. So, and that's why the stamp machines don't sell stamps anymore. When you wanted to buy one stamp and they charge you like triple for it, it's against the law to raise the price of a federally sold item. So that's why you don't see little stamp machines anymore making a profit, because it's illegal. So they have to sell it for exactly face value by law. So anyway, so this package was scanned on the property, and so he looked up the GPS on that scan, and it shows the item was on the property. Okay, from the postal worker being there scanning it on their property. So that's interesting. I didn't even know that. And I've seen them do that. A lot of times they'll scan the stuff and sometimes they'll ask you to sign for it or whatever. You're standing there waiting on them. You run out there and the post person is there. They're scanning the stuff with tracking numbers so that they can prove they delivered. Okay. And so that makes it really interesting. So going back to this person who claimed they didn't get the package, and they're going to report it like 21 days later, I'd be flying PO'd if I ordered a $120 shirt and I didn't get it in a few days. I would be flying PO'd. And if the tracking number didn't work, which that's happened to me before, ordering stuff, I will immediately, because people will put fake tracking numbers on orders so they can get paid on Amazon and eBay. Yeah, I responded to it. So, anyway, I don't do fake tracking numbers. I just don't do them. And so, anyway, I go back and I check the tracking number, which it's like 25 numbers long. They have huge, long tracking numbers at the post office. It's almost as bad as UPS. They always start with a Z and then it's got millions of numbers after it. It just is endless. Well, about the last eight digits from the end, I had reversed 2 numbers. So guess what? That's why the package on eBay was showing up not confirmed delivery and no tracking whatsoever. That was the problem. Remember when I said the postmaster said that number makes no sense? That's you know, let me check it out and research all the sales on that machine in the lobby, to ship stuff out. I had reversed two of the numbers, so the tracking number was no good. Now, me as a customer, I'd hit that tracking number just as soon as I did it, just to see when the package freaking arrived at the post office, because that's the next one. They'll put a tracking number down or buy online postage, and then they turn around and don't ship the sucker out. That's another great scam. And it make you mad as fire when you look every single day, and for 7 or 9 days, it still hasn't arrived for check-in at UPS or the post office or wherever it's being shipped from. And so they're jacking you around. And so anyway, because when I order stuff online, it's like, dude, I wanted it yesterday express. You know what I mean? I just really wanted it bad. So anyway, you would have thought the customer would have said something. Oh, the tracking number's not working. Oh, I have an event, in a day or two. Is it coming? Have you shipped yet? Nothing like that. Only one message through eBay of, kindly refund my money. So it gives you an option to go in and re-enter on that complaint. It won't let you go back to the original order, but on the complaint, you can re-enter the tracking number or enter a tracking number. Well, I go ahead and re-enter the proper tracking number because he read the tracking number off to me, the postmaster, and I noticed that I had reversed two numbers, about 8 numbers before the end. My fault. So I, re-entered the tracking number. Then I sent the customer a message. I sent him like three actually. The first one was, "Let me check with the postmaster. I'm trying to rectify this matter immediately because I'm really concerned. If the customer doesn't get the package, I'm not going to get paid, and that's a lot of money, you know." So, and sometimes crap happens, and then you've got porch pirates and all these other problems. So, anyway, then I sent him a second message. I talked to the postmaster, uh, and it shows as delivered on the 17th at 11:47, in the morning, and at your location, uh, and you know, then I sent a third message because I'm counting all the days out from the day that they ordered, because I shipped out the day they ordered, only a few hours after they ordered. And so I get really good ratings because I ship super fast. And I mean, they don't even care how much I charge for shipping. I ship so fast that I just get horrendously good ratings. And I sell good products. I don't sell any junk. So anyway, uh, then that's next one is, oh my gosh, if they leave you bad feedback. But nowadays you can get some of that actually erased. Um, uh, and if a customer is scamming on eBay, they'll just close their account. If they can catch them lying now, they will close their account. So take the risk if you want to take the risk being a scammer, because now eBay is, tightening up the ship a little bit. And so anyway, I sent a third message. Um, by uh, I'm confused because you ordered on the 14th. It shows you received it on the 17th. You said you had a function to go to wear that shirt on the 20th. And here it is, like the 1st of May, and you're just now mentioning it. And I said, one thing I learned today, something new, was that uh, the tracking number, it has to be scanned at the property they're delivering it to, and it is GPS to the property. So I learned something new today, and then I left it at that. This morning, eBay shipped my money. There was no big letter or any bull crap out of eBay. They just shipped my money because it was put on hold from some other orders. And I was like, well, that's kind of crappy. But it was okay. They didn't even ship me a big old fancy letter. They used to ship real fancy letters every second of the day. But there was nothing. Just your money has been sent for deposit. And I was like, cool. So yeah, scamming doesn't work out well. And if you want to be a scammer on eBay, look at getting your account terminated because there's too many catches today. And with the tracking numbers and all that stuff, it's pretty hard to say you didn't get it when they actually GPS it when they scan it to deliver it to your address. So try again, but today close but no cigar. So anyway, so yeah, I just thought I'd let you guys know about that interesting scam. Um, thank God that technology has upgraded a bit since '02, and we have a little bit more protection. I mean, maybe he'll leave negative feedback. Who knows? Maybe he just got caught. I had a brother-in-law who's a millionaire. He was in the real estate business in Chicago for many years. And he was the biggest penny pinching sucker you ever knew. He he not only had one-way pockets, they had zippers on top of them. I swear. He used to come to my shop, and I would have boxes of items I would buy in bulk and buy everything. So I owned the market, and I had all kinds of different things I would retail that really moved quickly. And he'd come by to stay high and all that, sit around, for a cup of coffee or whatever, and talk for a few hours. And on his way in through the shop, it was like, "Hey, can I have this? Hey, can I have this? Hey, can I have this?" I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." He never wanted to put out any money. And then he would take my little girl and I out to eat and say, "Hey, let's go ride into the city, and I'll take you guys out to dinner, at the buffet place." And like, okay, or come in town and drop by my house first, and then we'll all go, to the buffet place. My treat, and we did that, probably about 6 times a year. The only problem was, and I don't know if you've ever been with anybody like this, because I've been with like two other people that were like this, and they just love to steal. And now, bear in mind, this guy has tons of money, doesn't even have to work, was retired out I don't know how many years ago. So we go into the restaurant, and and this guy's skinny. He's 6 foot tall and he's skinny. Okay, and so we go into the restaurant, and my daughter and I get up and go get some food and come back to the table because we could really chow down. We did like the salads first, and then we did like the vegetables, and then some of the meats, and then we would go play in the desserts and stuff like that, and drink lots of cokes or milk. And so anyway, we got up to get something, come back. He got up, came back, and he had a plate with like 10 steaks on it. And I'm looking at this plate of 10 steaks. I'm like, what the heck is this? I'm like, I just want to see him eat this. And oh, thank you for the thumbs up. So we sit at the table. We eat a little bit. Then we decide to go get some more stuff at the food bar. And they go, get some plates and go get some more stuff. And because we like to do the taste everything thing, a scoop of little like tablespoon of everything on the plate, so you try all the different veggies and all that fun stuff. Oh yeah, like 10 steaks, and so And you know, the buffet places are not like big old honking steaks. This is like the free ones. And so then we get up to go get some stuff. He gets up to go get something after we come back to the table. He comes back with about 9 biscuits, you know, biscuits and rolls. And I'm like, what in the hell? Now, and he talks so much and he eats really, really, really slow, you know. And he was a bit older than me. Okay. So anyway, uh he then we get up to go get something else, and like most all those rolls would disappear. And it was like, what the hell? So then, you know, we get ready to go, and he had his truck in the parking lot. And I think he left the dogs in the truck with the windows down or something. He had these 2 little bitty dogs. And so they were little short dogs. They weren't Chihuahuas, but they were a little bit bigger. They're like, what do you call them? Like a schnauzer or some kind of thing. And then he had a girl and a boy one. And so the little short legged dogs. And so anyway, Scotties, I don't know what those are. And so anyway, uh, we go out to cars. We're standing around talking. He opens the door. He reaches in his jacket pocket, and he's got 2 of the biscuits in his pocket. I'm like, Gerald, what? I mean, why did you? And he goes, well, I said, you could have bought a to-go box. You know, they'll sell you a to-go box now. Before they used to not, because anything you brought to the table by law, you know, Board of Health law, once it's the customer picks it up out of the trays, then they can't put it back. So it has to be thrown away, and it's a horrible waste of food. And so nowadays, a lot of these buffet places, they'll let you come in and fill a box, you know, a little styrofoam box for a charge. And you just pile it full of crap, and you can buy the whole box and take it to go. And so anyway, you know, he gives a biscuit to each dog, and they're eating it like on the truck seat, and it's like crumbs everywhere. And we're talking and stuff, and then uh, he whips out a steak and throws it at them so they can both eat it. And I'm like, you didn't take that big stack of steaks that you had on the table. Well, yeah, it don't hurt them. You know, if you go pick it up off that bar and you bring it to the table, they're just going to throw it away. I see you could have bought a to-go box, man. For like $9, fill it up, you know. And he's like, no. And then one year he calls and I was filing for divorce from my husband, who was his brother. And so one year he called me up, and it was kind of a real sad day. My daughter and I were down at the shop, and she was just little, and she was like 6 or 7, and so he calls up and he says, "What you doing?" And I said, "Oh, we're just listing some stuff online, cleaning the house, and we're gonna go out and cut the yard." And he says, why don't we go, you know, for Thanksgiving dinner at the buffet place in town? And I said, okay. Now, I had to drive. My shop was at the state line, so it took a little ways to get in town. And, you know, it was like 30 minutes to get into town where he lived in town. So, and he's since passed away. But I understand. I'm not sure of that, but I believe that's what's happened. And so anyway, we go pick him up in my Cadillac, and we go out to the place, and he's dressed real nice, which was a very big rarity to get Gerald to dress really nice. But he dressed real nice and gentlemanly instead of like an old farmer. And we go up to the buffet place, and we had a lovely dinner. And he only takes a few things in his pockets. I mean, he stick them in his pants pockets. He didn't care. And he wears like real baggy clothes and stuff. And so at least he didn't hijack a bunch of stuff out of there because I want to crawl on the floor to get out if I have to be around somebody like that. I just get so embarrassed. And anyway, about 6 months later, we're talking on the phone. He would call me 24 hours a day. It might be 3 in the morning. He might call me, and he's bitching and moaning about some worker he had at the property doing work. He thought they stole stuff or some problem he had, and he'd go on and on and on, and I'd be like asleep, going, "Yeah, right, okay, yeah." And so he's going on, and he said, it pisses me off because all these scams on my credit cards and all that. And I've got to charge for like, $65 on my card for that darn buffet place on Thanksgiving Day. And I said, Thanksgiving Day. I said, Thanksgiving Day, you called us to come up there to go have Thanksgiving with you at the buffet place. And he goes, "Oh, I did?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I said, "So that's about the right price for 3 people." And he says, "Oh." And he says, "Well, I called and reported it to the credit card company and had him, renege it." And I was like, "Oh my gosh." And he was doing that kind of stuff all the time. That's what a tightwad he was. Was he that high that he forgot? No, he just is older, and um, he had physical problems, and so he did a lot of painkillers. Um, and in his latter part of his life, it got really, really, really bad to where he was like out on morphine, and I mean the doctors were restricting him. He did this thing where he called me one time because he got slammed because his doctor said he wasn't going to prescribe him any more painkillers. And these were all high classification painkillers where, you have to sign a document at the pharmacy and all this stuff, nowadays. And so, and I told him, I said, you got to exercise or walk or something, and you could get rid of a lot of that or have surgeries because you can't live on those painkillers because you'd be like immune to them and you got to take more and more and more. They have to step you up to something stronger, and then you're just going to become an addict. You just always be in pain, always. And most of the pain is because of the drug, not the physical pain. So it's a messy deal. And so he did this thing one year where he would do the goofiest stuff. Really intelligent dude, but he would do the goofiest stuff and think he couldn't get caught. It was really strange. And so he got pissed off at the doctor because the doctor said he was gonna, stop giving him, you know, all those chemicals. He was, like gonna give him like 1/4 of what, he'd already. And now if he went to Gerald's house, he had like a cupboard with a whole bunch. If you ever know anybody that gets into those painkillers, they'll stockpile that stuff and still go to the doctor to go get more. So it's like just in case they run out, you know what I mean? And so anyway, the doctor restricted him way down to about 1/4 of the original prescription. And he's like, the man pisses me off. I pay all that money to go see him and on my insurance. And he said he is not doing a good job. It's harder to do it now, though. Yeah. And he's like, and this was like back in God, like 2006, probably at that time. And because he would call me every time he'd have a problem, and be moaning and groaning. And then if I told him something he didn't like, he would really get mad and start yelling because I would go, well, no, you can't. No, they will probably do this. And God damn it, blah, 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 he'd be all pissed off. But I mean, if you're calling me, asking my opinion, by God, I will tell you. Okay? Be ready, be prepared, because I will speak honestly. And you always have to remember there's like three sides to a story. It's the story they're telling, and then the real story, and then there's like the outside looking in story. There's always three parts of that story. And then you have to kind of fuse all those together to get the real deal. But anyway, so he's mad as hell, going on about this doctor's a real piece of crap. He thought he was a good old boy at first, and all this. And I said, well, I mean, why is he restricting you? Why don't you just go get surgery and get it fixed? And he's like, well, God damn it, it's just like, I would have to pay $3,000 of that $1 million surgery, and I'm just not gonna put that money out. And it's like, man, for a $1 million surgery, the insurance taking care of all of it, but $3K, I would just go do it. And then you don't have to worry about taking any chemicals anymore. You just be all better. Oh no, I'm not gonna spend that kind of damn money. Blah, 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 blah. So at this point, he's on like morphine. They've got him skipped all the way up to morphine. And I saw the bottle. And I said, Jesus, I said, they have got you on morphine, like you're not on Percodan or something. And he said, oh, no, they've got me on morphine. It's like the only thing that'll work. I said, well, there you go. I said, it's like playing in drugs and now you're a heroin addict and you're shooting and that's like the end. You can't even get off of it. You're an addict and that's the way you're going to die. I've only known 2 people that shot heroin that lived to be off of it. The rest are dead. Once you get into those high classification drugs, it's messy, messy, messy. You're an addict. Okay? And now this is a guy that's taken this stuff for years. Who knows how many years? And now he's a serious addict because they skipped him up on heroin. And, yeah. And so, well, not heroin, morphine, and which is all about the same crap, opiates, whatever. And so, is that from the pain medicines? It probably more or less by age, I would say, or maybe he took too many, he went to sleep. I heard he passed away. My daughter had said something about it a year ago, and I researched his property and stuff, and it's already transferred out. So I'm not sure exactly what happened. And his ex-wife had passed away a few years before he did. She had brain cancer. Um, uh, and he had a daughter and a son left, I guess, and he hated the son. And so I don't know exactly what happened. But anyway, so um, uh, he and I went by his house just recently too, and like all these trucks and all this stuff. He had all these dualies in the driveway, like 10 of them. And then he went and bought 2 brand new cars that I suggested because I was in the car business for a lot of years, and he wanted me to suggest a nice compact car that was reliable and stuff. And he went and bought 2 because of his online love affairs that were supposed to come over here by plane, and they were sucking him dry for money and all that kind of stuff. It was ridiculous. But anyway, so most all his stuff was gone. There was only 1 truck left, and I thought, boy, he's dead for sure. So anyway, uh, he calls me up and he wants me to drive him to the doctor's. He's going to go to a different doctor. And I said, okay. So I drive him to the doctor. He goes in there and he comes out with a little Ziploc bag. And he shows it to me. And I said, what is that? He said, well, that's some painkillers till he writes my prescription. And I said, they gave it to you in a Ziploc bag? I mean, I don't even know how that's legal. It's supposed to be in a bottle with the label and a person's name on it and all that stuff. Because, like, if I got stopped by a cop, we'd be in really serious trouble with a Ziploc bag full of morphine. Okay? It was like 3 or 4 pills or 6 pills of morphine or something. I mean, 1 is bad enough, but yeah. So, because it's high classification chemicals. So anyway, He's like, oh, it's all right. You know, he's going to forward the prescription to the pharmacy today. Well, then here comes a few months later. He calls me up. He's mad as hell again. I said, what is it now, Gerald? And he says, oh, damn it. He said, you know, my medicines are cut off for my pain. And I don't know how I'm supposed to live like this. And I said, well, just, I mean, start walking, get surgery. I don't know what to tell you. You know, I said, one, I'm not a doctor. And I said, and two, you just can't keep living off painkillers because they just stop working. And then you end up with pain because you're in pain over the painkillers. That's a true story. And if you just keep taking them, taking them, taking them, you need more and more and more. And the problem is your body's in massive pain because you're not getting enough of that, you know, painkiller. It is really bad. I've known 3 people that have gone through that. And it's shocking to know the damage that you'll do to your body, you know, because you're not solving the problem, you know. So, and I mean, here's a guy with money, with endless money. So, anyway, um, and he was like in his 70s, probably latter 70s back then. So, anyway, he's mad as fire. And he goes on this big dissertation for like an hour, like he does on the phone. And he's like, this just makes me so damn mad. And I'm like, what is it now, Joe? And he's like, well, you know, I can't get any painkillers at all. And I said, well, what happened? Your new doctor was no good? He said, well, he pissed me off too, you know, after a few weeks. So I just went to this other doctor. And then he went to another doctor over the Georgia state line. And then he went to some other doctor. And so what happened was he was getting scripts from all these different doctors for that high-end painkillers, morphine. And I said, well, you're lucky you're not in jail. And they didn't call you a drug dealer. And he's like, what the hell? I can't believe I'm not any damn drug dealer. And I said, well, that's what it looks like. If you're going to go to like 6 different physicians and complain about pain and talk them into writing you a script, that's now called scripts. Scripts. You know, back in the old days in California, when I was underage, I knew lots of people who used to go to these so-called script doctors. And they were doctors you could pay them, you know, 75 or 100 for the medical visit. And then, you know, they would write you a script for whatever you wanted. And most of them did that so they could resell the crap and then party on a little bit of it. And that was a real popular thing. And it seemed like the doctors never got caught. And so that was a real big thing many, many years ago. And nowadays, you know, it's like you got to show your ID at the pharmacy and sign papers and all kinds of crap, even to get the stuff. So it's, I think, a little bit more regulated nowadays. And so, anyway, in order to catch people, probably. So, anyway, he'd gone to like 6 different damn doctors. And I'm like, you're lucky they don't call you a drug dealer. And he's like, why? I said, morphine? Man, you'd probably make big money selling those by the pill. You know what I mean? To the serious party people, I said, you know, I mean, that's what it looks like. If you're going to go 6 different doctors, get scripts from all these doctors, I mean, why would you go to 6 different doctors for the same thing? And I said, you don't think they catch that? Especially with computers nowadays. You know, I mean, when you go to a doctor, it's like they want to know who the last doctor was that you used. Did he like omit that? Like didn't tell him he went to another doctor, or do you think he wrote it down and bitched about the doctor? And then this new doctor's like, hey man, I got a new patient. This sucker will be coming in regular because he's old and he's in pain, and I can make big money by getting a new customer. You know, I don't know. So They stopped all of his high end painkillers, his chemicals. Then he didn't know what to do. Oh my God, I would just die. I'll be in so much pain. And oh, no, I can't live like that. And, it's just horrible. And I said, well, again, start walking around your property. I had a huge amount of farmland that wasn't even being worked. And I said, start walking, laps in the morning and a lap at night. And going to Walmart and doing laps in the store, whatever it takes. Go to the local park, and just start walking and making that body move. Whenever you have back problems and stuff like that, my chiropractor told me years ago, I was laid up for 2 weeks. I thought I was going to die. I was in so much pain. And, they gave me an option. I broke my back on stage 4 different places, and I shattered my tailbone. They had given me an option of $28,000 surgery. So, and this is another reason why I don't get in fights, okay? And so, I had the money to pay for that. Not insurance, but money. But I just really didn't want to chunk out $28K for surgery when there's still no guarantees. That's no 100% guarantee that it's really going to fix everything. And that would be a real bummer to spend $28K on something that, you know, had no guarantee, maybe it didn't work. Um, and I've known a lot of people that have had back surgeries, and the reason it failed was because they laid up. They didn't get up and walk every day and work it, because they just laid up and whined about how they were so crippled, and it was worse than what they began with. That's how you'll find most of your failed back surgeries, because the people laid up. Can't do it. You have to follow doctor's directions. So I was in Huntsville, Alabama, and I was running costumes, and my back started tripping out. One disc, the next disc, the next disc, and it's like after four, I can't walk. So I was laid up in the house for like 2 weeks, and I called my chiropractor, back in Memphis, and I said, Doc, and he's deceased too now, Doc Berry from Switzerland, high end chiropractor. And so I gave him a convertible car 1 year to guarantee he'd be my doctor for life. No charge. Because he wanted this car so bad. I said, how bad do you want it? And I was like, you work on my back for the rest of my life. For free, if you really want that car. He was like, okay. I said, good, it's a deal. The sad thing was he didn't outlive the car or anything else. And the car is like so gone. And I saw it on YouTube just recently, and I know it was the same car. And I was like, oh man, it's worth a mint now. But anyway, so I called Doc up, and I said, God, I don't know what to do. I can't even drive to see you or any other chiropractor. I had chiropractors all over the state. So wherever I worked, I could just drop in if I had problems. So he said, well, what are you doing? I said, laying on this couch. I can't even get up to pee. It's terrible. I have to have people pick me up and carry me. I said, like, I haven't had a bath in like 12 days because I can't go, like, I step my legs over into a bathtub or anything. I said, it's really terrible. It's like I either can, like, stand up if you prop me up and I'm holding on to like walls or something, or I have to just lay down. And he's like, no. And I said, well, I mean, I don't know what else to do. I hope it goes away. He said, no, 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 no. And I'm like, what? And Doc says, look, he said, you don't have to do that surgery. I said, since when? He said, you don't. He said, but I will tell you one thing. If you don't get up and start moving, you're going to get arthritis will set into your body. You're too young to get that. I'm like, what are you talking about? He said, laying up with a damaged back will make it worse. I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. I said, I can't even walk. And he's like, no. He's like, you better find a way to get up and walk. I said, how am I supposed to walk? He said, you better find a way. Because once that arthritis sets in, you're going to have it for the rest of your life. And I'm like, no. And he says, again, you don't have to have that surgery. It's not mandatory, but you have to make an effort. And I'm like, really? So, like, I would get like a $28,000 savings right here. Uh, so, I didn't know what to do. Oh my God. And so, my friends picked me up and stood me up. And like, I'm like using walls and stuff and trying to, make my way. I can't hardly walk at all. It is just unreal. And it's like your back feels like a string of marbles. And it's just kind of like wing wanging around. It is the worst feeling. And so you don't know it's just gonna snap in pieces. It's so bad. So, and you can't turn your head and all that other fun stuff. And the pain is just excruciating when you try to do certain things. Okay. It is so bad. So I got in the kitchen. I'm standing there looking around. I'm like, man, how am I going to do this? So I see the broom. I said, broom. And now I had a beautiful cane that they stole out of my house. I broke into my house and stole that sucker. And a showgirl gave me this cane. It was gorgeous. It had like a mermaid on it in solid brass. And on the top, it was absolutely beautiful. And then when it unscrewed, it had a blade in it. It was like a sword. And she said, "Here, this is for you. So when you're on the road, if you have to use a cane, you have protection." And I was like, "That is so cool." And somebody stole it out of my house. And so that was such a bummer. So anyway, I'm sitting there going, I need a cane. So I look at that broom standing there next to the fridge and I said, I'll use that broom. That's what I'll do. I'll use that broom so I can walk. And I'll just hang on to that broom. So I went out the front door with the broom. Yeah, that was so sad. They stole it out of my big house that I had on 4th Street. My big 5-story, 15-room Victorian that I owned. Bought it all by myself with no man's help. The bank wouldn't even touch me. I was a single parent. That's right. My kid was like 7 years old when I bought that house. So, anyway, so I take that broom and I'm, making my way towards the door, which is like I'm a 200-year-old person, I'm taking these little delicate steps, like, the size of my feet, each step kind of step. Really bad. And it's like, about every 4th step, my whole spine just goes yank. And it's like, ah, and the pain just shoots right through your skull. It is just unreal. And so I get my way to the front door. I get out the front door. Beautiful sunshiny day. And I'm out. I'm using this broom to hold on to for dear life to walk. Like I've never walked before. I mean, really bad. It's just ridiculous bad. So it's the street there in Huntsville. It was like a cul-de-sac street. You could walk around in a big oval, on this street, all the way down one side and come back down the other. To the dead end where the house was at. And my friends Jerry and Debbie Vaughn owned the house there in Meridianville, um, Alabama, which is just outside of Huntsville. And so, and I keys to their house. So anytime I come in town to to dress the entertainers. I had my own bedroom and I had my own keys. I could come in 24 hours, 7 days a week. No notice, didn't make a difference. I was always welcome there for many, many years. And so, anyway, and he worked on my cars, on all my Cadillacs. He was my personal mechanic. So, anyway, uh, I'm walking down the street, dragging my body. Because one side's really out, like I'm been paralyzed or had a stroke. It would get really bad when my back comes out. So I'm dragging myself down the street with this kitchen broom, and uh, I did that and did that and did that, going around the block several times, and you know, did it for a few hours actually, till I could walk a whole lot better, till I could really kind of walk. Okay. And so Doc was right. You had to get up and move. And the unfortunate part is that it did injure me for life, because at times, especially when it's real cold, and man, when I lived in Memphis and that weather, dude, anytime I get in severely cold weather, and especially like boondocking in the car too, in 20-degree and 30-degree weather, it's grotesquely painful. Because my body seizes up at my hips, and so it really cripples me, and that is due to laying up for a couple weeks with a jacked up back, and my doctor, a couple states away, um, and it would have been worse if I'd have laid up anymore. It was a good thing I just called him. He was a best friend of mine too. And it's like, hey, what you doing, Doc? And he's like, where you been? When are you coming back in town? And it's like, I can't even walk. One of those kind of phone calls. And so if it weren't for him telling me that, I would have been worse off than I am today. Um, so I only get it like if I ride in a car too many hours and don't get out and walk, if I'm sitting down for very long, and if the weather gets cold, that arthritis starts flaring up, in my hips, and it's terrible. It's like you're freaking 200 years old. So, my greatest advice to you, just like Doc Irwin Berry, who's deceased, and you can research that on the internet, chiropractor, um, is do not lay up with a crappy back. And two, I worked with a guy that was a doorman at Cat's up in Meridianville, and that was a gentleman's club up there, and his name was Woody. And he was a rodeo star. And he said, man, I've had every part in my body, every bone, everything I own has been stapled, wired, fused, pieces put in, and you name it. And I had come down there one time and they had me on Percodan and I was walking with a cane. And everybody's like, did you have a stroke? Did you have a stroke? I'm like, no. So it's my back. And it's, sometimes I walk, sometimes I don't. And I hate taking painkillers. I hate taking Tylenol. I don't like any of that crap. I did that Percodan for 6 months when I first trashed up my back. And it makes you so mean. And then the stuff doesn't work enough. And it's like, the one that got me out of doing the Percodan was Woody. He said that crap is no good. He said all it is make an addict out of you. It doesn't solve the problem. I said, yeah, I already learned that from Doc. You gotta get up and walk. You can't just lay. You start getting arthritis seizes into your body, and then you can't get rid of it. I wish I wouldn't have laid up for 2 weeks, because it messed me up for life. And he goes, no, he said, the painkillers are worse. He said, get off that crap. And I'm like, then what do you do? Chew on wood? The pain is just unreal. And he said, look, He said, Tylenol, man. Tylenol. Tylenol, take calcium, and keep on moving and grooving, man. He said, I'm telling you. He said, don't do the painkillers. He said, I ought to know. I've had everything bust in my body, not once, but twice, but 3 times. And it's like I'm Pinocchio, you know. And I'm like, wow. And so that was a very educational thing there. Here's a rodeo dude. He gets thrown off crap, bam, busts all kinds of crap, and goes and gets it all put back together and goes and does it again and again and again. So this is somebody that knows what they're talking about. So I got a rodeo star and a doctor that are telling me stuff to educate me that keeps me walking most of the time today. Most of the time. And yes, I carry a cane in my cars, always, for years, and always will. And yes, sometimes you will find me in a Walmart in the wheelchair thing because it's not a good walking day for me. So, I just, have to be careful, and it's, you know, it is problematic. Um, and maybe surgery today would help a lot of that. But again, I hear Doc Mary echoing in the back of my mind there, don't do it, don't do it. Just keep on moving and grooving. So my greatest solutions for back is Dimso, shark cartilage, and keep on moving. Okay? Those are my 3 solutions. Yeah. So there you have it. Da, 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 da. So yeah, we just went a big long detour there from one story to the next of how somebody tried to rip me off for a $120 shirt because I guess they're somebody who has money and they like to be a thief, like my brother-in-law would do. Any way he could get something free, and then to his back problems and his addiction to morphine and high-end chemicals, and then what I went through and how I fixed it. And with 2 wonderful people in my life that had really great advice, and one was actually a doctor, and the other one was a rodeo star. So I was very blessed, very blessed. Was he banned from the restaurant? Well, not that I know of, but he did get banned from Harbor Freight Tools. He called me one day about that. He's all mad. But guess what, Red? And da da. And where's your customer? Did you block him from your account? I probably should. I probably should. I've got to figure out how to do all that because I've changed it all in the years. But I probably should to keep him from doing that again. It just makes me sad that somebody would try to jip me for $120 shirt and shipping. Mother of God. Yeah. I mean, now they may have a porch pirate. It might be an elderly guy, and his grandkids are stealing his packages or his neighbors. Who knows? I mean, but that sucker was GPS to that property. But then again, 21 days after you have ordered and you needed it for an event, something's wrong with the picture. Why didn't they say anything earlier? Okay? Because I was freaking out when I saw that it didn't show delivery on eBay after I just found out that I had reversed 2 numbers on the tracking number when I asked Postmaster to read the tracking number to me to see that it matched. And he read it off to me, and I was writing it down as he read it off. And I looked at the other line I had wrote previously with the tracking number I had entered on the account, and at the last 8 digits I had reversed 2. So my fault. And that could have been from because I used my phone and entered it from my phone. These phones get stupid. Just like when you're typing a text message and, you want to type out, stop the bus and it says, you know, give me salsa or some crap, It's just, they do that. They will do their own little thing. So, yeah. So yeah, so there you have it. Oh well, that success. I guess I won for a moment. Who knows if they leave negative feedback? But thank you for alerting me about the block thing, because there was also a mention of that um, uh, on a eBay uh, thing that I was reading the other day, yesterday. So I probably do need to go blocking. But like I say, it could be anything from porch pirates to neighbors watching, or the grandkids or whatever, an elderly person that probably doesn't even go out of their door, and maybe the postmaster left it on the floor next to the door or some crap, or got blown away in a storm. It's real windy right now tonight and today. I mean, would have been a great sailing day, beautiful day, blustery day, but um, it was shipped in Florida, and only an hour away from the post office I shipped it from. And I'm like, there's just no way. An hour away. I mean, I was so mad I had to pay all that money to ship that sucker, because that machine forced me to ship it priority. I was mad as fire. Because I'm losing money already, because I only charged them like $9, and it cost me like $10.75 or something like that to ship it, because it would only ship through that machine on priority. And it does about every other time it'll do that on an order. And it won't come up with any ground charges, only priority. And it's like, are you crazy? So yeah. So I had no way to for internet um for the last like 3 or 4 weeks. But I recently found I could run internet if I buy the high dollar straight talk phone card for $65 plus tax or whatever it is. I can actually fire my computer up off of my phone and successfully download a shipping label online and print it. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So I've tried it and tried it and tried it before, and it wouldn't work. But if I buy that high dollar card, for some reason, it will let me do it. And it's still cheaper than buying internet again. I've had trouble with my T-Mobile, and I don't know if they sold too many in the area, or the birds are up in the thing. That was a lot of the problem last year, was the birds up in the antennas and all that stuff for weeks and weeks and weeks. And they don't rebate you any money on that when it's not working. And I mean, when the sucker's dead for like 3 weeks, you can't get online, you can't do anything. I mean, you should get a little discount, even though it's relatively cheap. It's only like 50 a month, but still, I mean, it's money. So without the internet, it's a great savings, especially when I don't sell so much stuff. The only problem is this last week I had several sales, and it's like, oh damn, you know. Yeah, so mine, the T-Mobile was prepay. So the last month I used it like 4 or 5 months ago. It was so flippin' bad it would not work. Every day it would not work. I was so mad. And I mean, I couldn't even go online. It would just sit there and dance like old dial up or something. It was just absolutely terrible. It would go absolutely nowhere. So I couldn't even get onto eBay to do eBay shipping. I couldn't even get onto Pirate Ship to ship out, because I couldn't get to the sites. It just sat there dancing. And it was a pain in the butt. So, yeah. And I mean, it could be due to the metal, because I'm, you know, operating my office now out of a small storage. And it could be the metal interfering. Who knows? The metal roof, metal doors, whatever. It just may really be perturbed trying to run in that, maybe blocking the signal. So, but Straight Talk just came out with internet. And they've got supposedly this unlimited internet. You can buy the unit for like $99. There's a lot of bad reviews to it. But there's a YouTuber that was doing it in his car, powered the thing up in his car. Now, this would be ideal, because the T-Mobile one, you cannot move around. They will not let you move it around. I'm like, can I take it with me on a trip? Like set it up, my casino hotel, or, when I used to travel to NOLA to sell all the time. My daughter and I, we had free comps for rooms at the casino all the time. They sent me stuff every month. And, I hadn't gamed there in years. So we got like $100 in food ticket, a free suite, for a day or 2 days or 3 days. And so on the way down to NOLA, we just go to the casino and hang out there and go get. They also give me like 40 or 75 free cash too. And it was like, dude, we need to go in and collect all this stuff on our way in. And on the way back, the week changes over and they'll have more for me. So we'll collect some more on the way back. And it was hilarious. And so we would do that. Instead of driving straight through to NOLA, we just stop in Biloxi and hang out and, go to the jacuzzi and the pool and the gym and all that stuff and hang out in the room and enjoy some great food and a few movies and the jacuzzi baths and the showers and all that cool stuff. And then we'd call room service and they'd come up and get all our stuff and they'd take it down and load it into the car and I'd tip them and it was just easy peasy, man. It was a freaking blast. So yeah, I'd take my daughter out on the main floor, get her all dressed up so she looks like an adult, like she would pass. And we'd go on the main floor and sit at the bar and drink non-alcoholic pina coladas, okay? And that was really fun. That was so much fun. And she just thought she was it, she could do all that cool stuff. But yeah, it's super fun. But yeah, so uh uh yeah, pretty fun. I can't believe this weather tonight. It was kind of cold the last couple nights, but it was a pretty day today. The palm trees are just blowing around, just blowing around. Yeah, yeah, we had a blast. Yeah, so I don't know, but anyway, I was going to tell you this guy got this Straight Talk internet box. It's a little white box, like 99 bucks, and he literally drives around with it. Now my Straight Talk home phone, I can take in my car and use it while driving. Okay. Plus, because I have a battery operated telephone, I hook up to it. So it works in my car. And then, yeah, no, that's cool. And then I would put it in my hotel, plug it in at my hotel, and then nobody knew that I wasn't home because I'd answer my phone. See, so then my house wouldn't get robbed. The Straight Talk. And so that was really convenient. So you can move that thing around. You can take it with you on trips. I even made an emergency call for a tow truck using that Straight Talk phone thing. I had it in my car, and my regular phone, wasn't working. I was in a bad area, in the backwoods in Defunk, and I said I ought to just try using that home phone thing and see if I can call them and they can hear me and all that kind of stuff. And I used that in the car and called for my tow truck and all that successfully. And so yeah, it's a pretty good thing. So yeah, when I got the T-Mobile one, they said, "Oh no, you can't move it around." I'm like, that's terrible because I used to go bring my stuff like to the casino with me and just bring it up in the room and plug it in. And they said, "No, it's registered to the address you registered it on." And it's like, well, crap. So uh the Straight Talk one, this guy did a YouTube I was watching the other day, and he bought that $99 unit, whatever, but it was like 150 then. Okay. And it's a little white box, and it's like 1/3 of the size of the T-Mobile stuff. And so he it looked like he was doing it from his car, and he was. He plugged it in, put it on the roof of the car in a parking lot, and was showing the service and the download and upload rates and all that and all the speeds and stuff. And then he said, "Okay, I'm going to go over to the the the, the antenna or whatever it is, the thing, tower, right at the tower." And he drives over to the tower, and then he goes and powers it up there. And it's like just a little bit faster. And I'm like, you're doing that from your card? He's like, yeah. I'm like, how does it work? Because you gotta, give your like address and everything to Straight Talk, just like T-Mobile and all that. In order to get the service, and they tell you can't move it around, so you can actually move around. I said, yeah. So I just drive around with it all the time. And it's like, what? So this is handy too. If I can do that, I can just put the thing in my freaking car in the parking lot and bring my computer out and my printer and power my printer up and all that to the jackery, my onboard battery, and then turn around and print my shipping labels from the flipping parking lot. And I would own the unit and then just pay my service, which is like around 40 or $50 a month. And I would own the unit outright. And I could carry it in my car and use it wherever I am, period. Because that unit based on Verizon. So I should have no trouble using it. And it might even work in my office. Who knows? I just know that T-Mobile, when I haven't powered it up for 4 or 5 months, I need to go take it back and give it to them because it's just done me no good. I don't know if I'm going to waste any more money because I've had several months where it wouldn't function because it claimed they need to work on the tower and the birds were up in there, and it's a federal regulation and something in Florida that humans can't go near those birds or because they're endangered or some crap, and they have to wait for them to come out of there. And I don't have time to wait. I need internet when I need it. So that might be another option. But I really need to like buy a tire before I, like buy the internet box. I'm trying to, get stuff together. I'm working full time, trying to get everything caught up and right and working smoothly. And I will be looking at a lot of overtime very soonly. So, I'm just trying to like regulate my money. Like, there's a great lamp I would love to have. I went back the other day just to see if it was still there, and I would love to have that sucker. It is absolutely gorgeous, and to me, it's totally worth the money. It's a very, very beautiful thing, but I just can't do it right this minute. I've got to pay attention to my priorities. It's baby steps. I'm working it, working it, working it. And, I'm doing so much better now. So I really have to be very careful, how I do my money. I've got to do everything in order in the right way. I can't get stupid, trying to be grown up about this whole thing, And so when my medical insurance goes through, will be awesome. That will be super neat. So I have to do the term to get to that point. Yep. So things are going okay. Only at times where hair problematic at work, but upper management adores me and does not want to lose me or have me quit. It's unreal how much they want to keep me. And the other day, I almost quit. I was so pissed, but I've had a few days where I felt like that. But they give me free reign. I can go to other departments and work. And like as a matter of fact, this morning they're like, "So where are you gonna be today?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know." I said, "Maybe I'll go sell shoes, man. I don't know. I might open a thing out in the parking lot and sell toothpicks because I could be a millionaire. I just don't know what I've got planned today." And they're like, "No, really, seriously, because we got lots of places that we can put you." And I'm like, "Nah, I think I'll pick one eventually. I may work 2 places today." So they just let me kind of run loose right now. They're trying to reorganize a main department that I'm over, and because it's extremely problematic, and they really would like me to stay over that department, but I just really don't want to. Um, but they're trying hard to get it sorted out. So it's going to take them a little bit of time, and then it should be worth the wait. Um, you know that story. It takes a little bit longer, but then it's worth the wait. So we'll see how that goes. But otherwise, I'm fine. I'm getting my, full time hours in. I get great pay. Um, my raise comes, what? Ooh, I think in one more day hits my raise of $2 an hour. That's right, $2 per hour higher. Da 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 da. So yeah, that's so cool. They love me, but you never know what tomorrow has to bring. Yeah, they really are cool. But yeah, so even with the $2 raise, I cannot go crazy. I've got to still justify things appropriately. I've got two storages already paid for that were due on the 1st. I've got two more that need to be paid before the 5th that are huge money. And I will probably pay one tomorrow or both tomorrow. It depends. I'm just, you know, yep. So, and then I'm gonna go ahead and pay my car insurance off too, probably this week. So, then I don't have to pay it for like another 3 months or something. Because I always pay extra on my bills. I always have. I've always done that. That way, if you ever have to call and say, I need an extension, they're real good about extending it. And two, you just don't have to sweat the small stuff, man. Just pay a little bit extra all the time, and you don't have to sweat the small stuff. You save on the finance charges, like on car insurance, they want to charge you all those extra fees. Well, you save on that when you pay that turkey off early. Kind of no, they kind of almost they had a screw up this last month, and she had to go over that again and straighten that out and call the writers or whatever it is, and because they had put some extra charges on my account, and I was like, "What? How did you get shady all of a sudden like that?" I mean, I felt like I was with freaking Progressive or something. Progressive's really good at that. They love to change your insurance all day long, just like Allstate. Oh, we give you a check because you're such a valued customer. You always get a check at the end of the year. So what they do is, they turn around and say you have a savings of like $240 for this year, and then they turn around and you go to pay your insurance, and if you don't look at the old bill that you had previously, you'll be looking stupid because it'll be like, $100 higher or 200 or $300 higher than the last one for no reason. And then when you call them and go through this operator, that operator, and that operator, get disconnected, I have to call back. Then they call you back, and then you can't understand them or hear them. When you get past all that crap for about 2.5, 3 hours, and say, okay, so why is my insurance higher for this year? You just sent me the rebate. Why don't you just credit that towards my insurance thing? Oh no, we have to send you that check. Well, the problem is that it'll exceed the flipping check. And you know what their answer is? Oh, well, your state went up in fees this year. So we didn't do anything. It's not our company, it's your state went up in, fees and requirements. And it's like, do what? So you'll never get past that with Allstate. That is such a scam. You know, I've had Allstate twice in my life for several years, and they still jack you around. Yep. So, but anyway, I just thought I'd say hi to you guys. I'm kind of freezing now, and uh, I've got to go do a few things, and then tomorrow's another work day. We'll see what tomorrow has to bring. I hope it's profitable and has many blessings. Insurance is such a racket. Yeah, my daddy, I called him when I bought my big house. I bought two houses on one lot. And I called him up and I said, 200-year-old Victorian, 5-story, 15 rooms, 15-car driveway, big granddaddy Porsche, the whole deal. The storybook house thing, the one that you're going to do the fixer-upper, this old house, all the kind of stuff. And so, and I had the money to do it, not a problem. I had $0 when I signed the paper, when I looked at the house. $0. That's right. I bought a house with $0. And then I had $28,000 like 36 hours later. And I called a girl I went to college with, Johnny Daggett, and called for her daddy, Buddy Daggett, was big in lawyer out that way. And asked him if he would draw up the papers and educate me on buying a house, rent to own, kind of thing. Or what was it? Lease, option, buy, or something. And he said he would do it. And his fee was like just short of $300. So yeah, that's a story I probably should tell on YouTube. How I bought a house with $0, being a single parent where no bank would touch me. That's right. Yep. It's pretty funny. But you can do anything you want to do. All you gotta do is keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for those stars. You'll grab one day. Yep, that's a fact. That's a fact. So, yeah. But anyway, I am freezing. So I have got to close this off. It's been a slice of heaven hanging out with you guys. And do something kind for a stranger. Love everybody. Too much of a good thing is wonderful, and we'll take a whole lot of that. And just make sure that you know who loves you, baby. Big Red. See you in the next one. Woo!